And 592. Okay, I got to pull up the scripture. Hey, and welcome, everybody. Come on in and grab a seat at the bar. I'm your Photo Happy Hour bartender, Michael Mowbray. And joining me behind the bar are who? Dan Frievalt and Carl Caylor. Say hey, guys.
Hey, I'm in front of the bar, though.
What do you got in front of you there?
GoPro.
Oh, it's like I got my. Every time I pull up the script for the intro, I just put it over your face. So
not a bad call.
I'll put it over my face this time. There we go. So, what are you guys drinking tonight? Tonight,
I have
tonight somewhere
a red blend.
So wine
left over from my birthday.
No, yeah, you got to get that done because that was this weekend.
Yes.
Probably the last day on that stuff.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, is it going to be any good if I pour it? I did put it in the fridge, which I normally don't do, but I've been doing with my reds. And then I took it out an hour before the podcast.
Where do you store the box?
Yeah.
You don't normally store the box.
I have a special refrigerator where all the box wines go. Yes.
Yeah. I have a caramel. So if you have a red, I have a caramel color, but it's whiskey, not wine. So. And
I'm drinking the Whiskey Fairy. The Whiskey Fairy left me some whiskey.
I knew I'd find it somewhere.
I have no idea where this came from.
At least she left me a little bit in the glass when you guys took the bottle with you.
Well, all I know is I got back home from sync and I unpacked everything and I had my scotch was in there and Lisa's brandy was in there and I was like, this is Carl's whiskey. I didn't pack this. And truth be told, Carl, I actually poured myself a scotch. So
I figured you would.
I'm saving this for you in case you ever stop by.
It could happen. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one perk perk of making a 20-hour drive through all the weather back home.
You could take the whiskey with you.
Take the whiskey.
You know, guys, the worst weather, probably some of the worst weather we've had this winter were the 2 days I drove. The day I drove down to Florida and the day I drove back.
Yep.
We literally saw semis that were flipped by the wind on the way back.
Yikes.
It's like I'm driving up through Illinois and it's like, what is that big, long, dark thing in the median? We get closer. It was like the underside of a semi that was perpendicular to the road. It's like, holy crap.
That's just freaky. You know,
yeah.
I mean, unreal.
Yeah. Well,
fun stuff.
Yeah, at least you were smart, Carl, and sent it home with them. Because at one time when I was teaching it after dark, I bought a bottle of wine, and then some attendees also bought me a bottle, and I thought it was so nice that they bought me a bottle, and then I decided I just couldn't leave it behind. It was a gift, so. I think I almost put down 2 bottles of wine and wasn't feeling too good the next morning when I left. So I don't recommend doing that.
there was a time that I got a bottle of wine, a great big one of those the kangaroo thing. I don't remember what the brand is.
Oh yeah, the Aussie wine.
Yellowtail.
That's the one. Yellowtail. They were very appreciative of me.
And they gave you a bottle of Yellowtail?
A great big one. It was huge.
They must have really liked you.
Yeah. Well, this is before 9/11 happened. And so, and I was tired because I took a red eye back from Vegas to swap spots because the person that was supposed to speak there was also speaking at the exact same time in Vegas. So I was tired, very, very tired. So get down to the program, get on the plane. And I thought, well, I'm afraid to check this on my bags, put it in my bag and have it break. So I carried it on because back then you could. So I carried it on. I got bumped up to first class. So I'm sitting in the very first seat. And, when you're in the very first seat of first class, there's no place to put anything, right? Because the crew is up there.
I have no idea.
Oh, well, it happens. So here I am holding on to this great big freaking bottle of wine, and I fell asleep. And when I went to get off the plane, and the stewardess is laughing at me, I said, "Why? What's wrong?" She goes, "You wouldn't believe the looks you were getting when people were getting on the plane. Here you are, passed over the freaking bottle of wine." Everyone's walking on, going, Huh. First
You
class, eh?
You get that first seat in first class in some of those regional jets, and they hand you the navigation charts
Yeah.
and a headset.
Co-pilot. That's right.
You're like,
That's okay.
I think we turn
Carl,
right.
Carl handed the flight attendant the hand sanitizer wipes as he walked in, and she died laughing on the way back from sync.
Because they're passing with hand sanitizer, and like, I got like 5 extra here. You want one? she was just rolling.
She was
Oh my
rolling.
gosh. Sometimes you gotta make fun so that people have a smile in their day somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, why not?
Yep,
Make somebody
yep.
happy. It's a good thing.
It's worth a shot. And speaking of making people happy, we'd like to thank our sponsor, the Professional Photographers of Iowa. That was one of my better segues.
That was very
Nice.
good.
They want you to know that the PPI Winter Convention is March 18th through 21st in Des Moines, Iowa. This is the year to level up your business, so join fellow photographers for top-notch education from some of our best educators in our industry, like Tom Rouse, Kimberly Smith, Chris Woolley, Alexis Charisma,
Ooh.
Corey McDonald, and more.
And
More.
there's more.
And more.
I don't know who those are, but they're more.
That's quite the lineup. I mean, seriously, if
It's a pretty good lineup.
I wasn't out of town, I would absolutely be trying to get there.
I wouldn't want to be one of the more people because it's like, well,
Yeah.
everybody else got their name read, but I'm just
more.
more.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's too bad.
all photographers are welcome to register and attend this in-person event. It's not required to be a member. Other features of this event include multiple opportunities for networking, can't read today, a vendor trade show, print competition, and awards banquet. Not only that, oh my gosh, a costume party
Whoa.
for me, and 3 shooting bays to get creative and learn hands-on in a fun, casual atmosphere. So, how do you learn more about that? You go to ppiowa.com and check it out. No idea how much it costs. It's probably more than $1 and less than 1,000.
Probably.
But worth
Probably
every penny.
Worth every penny.
Worth every penny.
With
Yes,
that lineup,
yes.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We've had
crazy
some good
cool.
times there, and
Yeah.
have we?
Yeah.
Dan, I think we always went to like Cedar Rapids the times we've gone down. I don't know if we've been to Des Moines. I think maybe I was once.
I was there once or twice, maybe 3 times.
Oh, I think I drove through the fog to get to one in Des Moines
was?
to judge and stuff. Yeah, that was.
See, I
fun.
used to
Yeah.
go down to Iowa convention when I was in college because the studio I was working for and interning for, they were very involved in the state. But at that time, it was huge. And one of the years that I was there, their job was hospitality room. So we helped out with that. And it was so packed, and each little segment of the state had their own thing going on. I remember swinging down a floor on the outside balcony to get in the hospitality room of the other, because the hallway was too crowded.
Oh,
So-
jeez.
Oh yeah, back in the day,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Oh, we were pounding on Kevin Hart's room because Kevin Hart was
Yeah, that's what I was
was-
going to mention.
doing a show.
he was going to come to the hospitality room supposedly, but he never made it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, but
I got tired of
happens.
waiting, went to bed.
Wow.
yeah. So
So, in case you're joining us for the first time, this is what we talk about.
We haven't talked about anything yet.
We are exactly.
All
We
right.
are 3 professional photographers who have been around for a while, and we like to get together and have a couple drinks virtually, and get together and have some drinks in person too. And when we do, we like to talk about photography and talk real smart smack, and that's the show. Thanks for
So
joining
this
us.
This is a virtual drink. It looks pretty real to me. I don't know.
I'm going to get virtually drunk pretty soon then.
Richly
All right.
drunk, please.
So every
So-
week we try to have a topic, and this week's topic is kind of loose, and maybe a little bit of a recap from one of our favorite conferences that we were all just at. All stayed together too. All ate food together. It was fun. Made some great lasagna. I got to learn how to make that bechamel. Or you used Alfredo instead of bechamel, right?
I did, yeah. Yes.
That was good.
Yeah.
Dan's
The
quite the
bechamel-
gourmand.
Man.
Oh my
And
God.
Carl made some
Negotiated-
shrimp, some chicken tempeh gumby goo.
Penang. Made
But yeah, there we go.
Penang.
That's why.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
It's good food, good stuff, good stuff.
Yeah.
So
And
So what'd you
sing
learn?
beyond that,
a lot. I sat in
wait, was
every
there a
program.
conference or did we just cook and drink and eat?
I actually didn't go to the conference. I just did the trade show and cooked and ate and
That was busy
stuff.
enough with the trade
Yeah.
show. Yeah.
It was.
That was one of my best trade shows ever. So today I finally shipped out the last orders from the trade
Wow.
show. It's taken me that long, and
Well, that's a
literally
yeah.
had my FedEx guy swearing the other day. I was in the studio, and I could hear all this bang bang, bladdy flatty flagging friggin' fliggy flugging. And so I had to open the door and I looked at him and said, "Do we have a problem here?" No, dude, we don't have a problem.
No, dude. It's a Bunkus's dogs.
Yeah.
It's your job. We're shipping packages. You take them. You ship them. That's all there is to it.
What's that? Yeah, I was impressed that I got my package delivered today because I'm like, oh shoot, he's probably
Already?
knee high, neck high in sync orders. And I like
So
place
you got
mine
your
after
300.
sync. Yeah,
You got your 300. Wow.
I do. It's
You know, when you're just like packing like a madman, you just grab an order and you throw stuff in the box. And I got $900 worth of cardboard delivered today because I used up all my boxes.
Whoops.
it's like the
There was like a light that
the
shone.
glow
Oh, it was.
the glowing light like Pulp Fiction. Yeah,
It's got that new flash smell too.
it does.
Smells like Fleet Farm.
Ooh,
It
Licorice
does. It smells like
in
tires.
in tires.
yeah. I miss that smell. Anyway,
Well, we need to get a
So
300.
sync.
so sync.
Other than the trade show, and other than the trade show being like a sauna,
Oh yeah.
I think I lost 5 pounds walking through the trade show. But
First night was the
did lose
worst
a
night.
pound.
After that,
that's
got a
what I
little
mean.
better.
Yeah, the first night.
You know.
So
Good
yeah,
programs.
I did make it to some programs. It was cool to see some people that I didn't know really, which I look forward to. You know, there's so many people that we know in the speaking circuit, and it was good to see people like Gavin Ward, you know, up there showing his stuff. And then I didn't make it. I wanted to make it into some of the sync sports stuff, even though I don't do sports stuff, just to kind of get a feel for that industry. But then it was tough because I wanted to also see certain people that I hadn't seen, or support other people that I do know are going to do a great program in the other area, you know, like Latrice and Tammy Howell, and and you know, just different people like that. So
I did get to both sides. I went
Wow.
to, I mean, and there were some really good nuggets in both sides, but the one that really stands out for me was actually on the volume side was Kane's program. And
I was wondering about that.
yeah,
oh dang, dude, it was he was on, he was just rocking it. And but it didn't matter whether you're a volume person or not. It was about the hustle to get the work. And it'll be the same hustle for high school seniors or families or the sports teams that are coming up. I mean, what he's saying got me thinking that, yeah, maybe we're not trying hard enough. You know, we gotta get out there. We gotta make calls. We gotta, you know, make handshakes and talk to people and get out there in front of them. And otherwise, they're just not gonna know you. They're not gonna book you. And
Right.
and of course, doing it without being creepy with kids around too was a good part of the show. You know, pulling up in your van and talking to the kid that's a 8-year-old little leaguer and say, "Hey, I got some candy here for you." Probably not a good way to approach it. So my takeaway from that is don't drive a van.
Don't do that.
don't drive a van. No, I'm just kidding. But it was all about the hustle, and it was very well done. Good content, and got me thinking about a lot of different things. So, and I've actually started incorporating it already
That's
once
great.
I got back here. So, yeah.
Well, that's the number one tip we always give people is once you see a speaker, you know, take some notes, find some things to apply, and then do it right away. But
Right
a
away.
lot of people, you know, we know who we're talking about when we say Kane because we've met him before. What's Kane's full name? Kane Sampson?
Kane Sampson is and I think his real name is Duquesne, because because he won something last year, remember, or something? They're like, "Who's that? Who's that?" And he comes running up. I was like, "Oh, that's Kane."
It's Kane. And where's he from?
Where is he from?
Out east somewhere.
He's from one of the Carolinas, I thought.
Yeah, I think so.
Could be. I could look it up quick. I know. We woke up that morning and I was like, "Oh, Kane's on today, awesome!" And then I get up to the thing and they showed the two different rooms. I'm like, "Oh shoot!" I was like, "Oh, I wanted to see Marnie Collette," and then
Marnie,
and then it's like Kane. I was like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Well, I'll sit in some of this and then jump over to Kane's." But Marnie just did a great job, like her personality and everything, and just like I knew everything she was teaching, but I just really enjoyed the way she presented it, especially because it was pricing and stuff, which can be a dry topic, numbers and pricing, and she had some really cool.
Oh wait, math.
Yeah. Oh yeah, math stuff. Yeah.
Oh wait, they're drink.
And since I knew Carl, you were in Kane's, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of like I'm clone. Like, Carl, give me the Cliff Notes. I'll take notes, and then so you kind of filled me in on that, which is cool.
Yeah, Marnie's just energetic and full of energy, and that's the definition of energetic, I believe. But anyway, but she's also got. She's got a lot of spark. She's got a lot of spunk. That's what she's got. You got spunk, kid.
which I thought was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kane
and
is
another MoLight customer right there. So there you go. Shout out. Give a shout out.
Shout. We did a lot of dancing too.
She's from Kentucky. I didn't.
I
hit the road before you guys all danced.
Yeah, the night that we danced a lot. It wasn't a lot of dancing going on the next day.
Oh, was that the night you were celebrating?
Yes.
Well, there
was celebration going on for finally getting the code in the door punched in correctly.
Yeah.
And realizing 2 days later that the patio door was open all week long, we could just walk right in.
I know. Every time I came back, the patio was open. It's like, okay.
Oh well. But we also had a good print competition, which was handled a couple of weeks before that. But they had the awards and they had the display screen up there showing all the digital entries, which was really kind of cool. Had a good crowd there and a lot of questions about it.
A lot of entries.
A lot of entries.
700 and some entries and... a lot of awards. A lot of people. I saw a lot of posts about people super happy about all the awards and how they scored and all that kind of stuff. And of course, you always get a few people who aren't that happy about their scores and their entries. But
there's always going to be that. And when it comes right down to it, I hear this a lot because I really push for people to try to enter print competition, whether it's sync or anywhere else, local or national or anything otherwise. Because I really do feel that it really puts you on the spot to learn, and you're learning from your stuff. You're getting more engaged in watching everybody else's work too, which is a really nice thing. Which is why I really do like Sync, by the way, because it's more industry related. So you're kind of staying relevant with what's going on in the senior market, which I think is really cool. But I always get the answer from people. Well, I'm afraid to do this. I'm scared to enter, and I keep thinking, why would you be scared to enter? It's anonymous. Nobody knows it's your work. Nobody we don't know the makers. Nobody knows. Just put it out there. Unless you tell somebody, no one would have a clue that your images are up there. So just do it and learn on your own. And if you want to ask questions, go right ahead. But then it got me thinking when I did hear a lot of the complaints and finger pointing at the judges and how we don't know what we're doing and all that kind of stuff, which I hear all the time. But it occurred to me every competition. Yeah. But it occurred to me that it's not a two-way street. It's nobody knows that your image is up there, but those 4 or 5 people that are sitting up there in those chairs giving their opinion about an image, not you, the maker, but that image right there in front of them, not knowing the backstory, not knowing anything except for that little rectangle that's up there.
Never
I was-
seeing it before
Never
in our
seen it
lives until
before.
it pops up on the screen in front of us.
And then
Yeah,
give
I
your
was just
opinion.
gonna write
Hopefully it's
that down.
educated.
The backstory, so I didn't interrupt
It
you.
means
But
nothing. It means
Yeah.
nothing.
They have no
unfortunately.
idea how much time this took.
You're right.
I'm sorry.
We don't.
And I'll be brutally honest. We don't care.
No,
I don't care
because
how
it's
long
not
it
what
took.
It's not what it's about. And the thing is, though, is those 5 people are there, more or less volunteering. I mean, when it comes right down to it, they're more or
Right.
less volunteering to give the entrance that image an anonymous, fair evaluation with their opinion of their experiences, their skill sets, their knowledge, and hopefully the makers can take that away or take away from that what's going to maybe help them. And some things they're not going to hear, and I get that. I'm the same way when I enter my images, but hopefully some of the things that are set up there you can take to heart and thicken that skin and learn from it. But the judges, remember, there's no blinders. There's nothing in front of them. There's nothing to hide behind up there.
Nope.
And so just kind of keep that in mind. These people are trained. They've been in the industry a very long time for the most part. But that being said, not all jurors have the same experience or the same years of experience either. And they also aren't trained as judges to the same degree as others as well. So, everybody in photographic world are at different levels. Everybody in judging is at different levels too. So, give them a break sometimes. They're just trying to help that image that's there in front of them at that given time. So just kind of keep that in mind before you
Right.
throw
Well,
chairs and rocks and stones and things
well,
like that.
And yeah, you hit the nail on the head too by saying their expertise and it's a very inexpensive form of education. You're learning a lot by entering and in a sense getting the knowledge from 5 different people. But if you look at it just as, well, they don't like my image, it's like, no, they're trying to help you improve. And I saw that a lot. Like we talked to several people too, and they're like, oh, I entered last year and I bombed, but I took the advice from the judges, and yeah, it stung a little bit, but I took their advice. I entered. Now I had all these image excellences happen this year because they learn from that experience instead of like having them just knock it down like, oh, those judges don't know what they're talking about, blah blah blah. So they're super excited and showing their awards off. It's a great marketing thing. But if they just would have gave up or not listened, it wouldn't help them at all. So. Or if you're like me, I'm so super critical of my images, I'll be like, psh, they way overscored that image. But I would have gave that like a 78. I wasn't even going to enter it. Like, what the heck, Like sometimes that's happens. So just set your bar higher, and then you won't be disappointed.
Yeah. There you go.
And I think a lot of people, and Carl kind of touched on, a lot of people just don't understand how much training and how much has gone into be able to sit in the chair and do what we do. We're talking years of training and thousands and tens of thousands, quite honestly, tens of thousands of images reviewed and judged. And that's part of the reason why we can look at things and review them and not only score them relatively quickly, but also be able to speak to that image and why we gave that score, because we have to be, for every single image that we look at and we score, we have to be able to talk about it, because we don't know if somebody's going to challenge it, and then you do have to talk about it. And that sync, one of the great benefits is, we cycle through all the judges, and at least one judge says something about every image. So you got to be able to say something about it, and a big part of that is being able to justify your score. Why did you give it the score? You're not just like, yeah, I haven't said 84 for a while.
It was kind
I'm
of
gonna punch in an 84. That's a nice even number. There's a reason. It's we put it into a category, and then within that category, where do we think it falls, and then we apply the score that would be appropriate to that. So a lot of people don't understand that, and as Carl kind of touched on too, You know, you can enter anonymously and get all this feedback, and nobody ever knows how you did. Yet, as a judge, everybody knows the score. If you're listening, everybody knows the score we give. Everybody knows what we had to say, and every single word is under scrutiny. So we hear after every, and I'm not sitting here just whining, I'm just trying to educate a little bit, is people are criticizing every single step of what we do throughout the process, and that gets to be wearing after a while. So, you know, be respectful.
Yeah, and I think it's good. You know, I don't think sometimes people realize, like what you said, the amount of hours and tens of thousands of images that you guys have looked at in training programs. I mean, Carl teaches the training for
Right.
PPA, like the class that you have to go through for, and everything. So I mean, there's a lot of information that you can digest quickly, and not only that, there's 5 other people on the panel. So if you're all at around the same number, then that's pretty, I mean, that's 5 people's opinion, but it's pretty accurate if you all kind of land in the same area. And the system set up, if you don't land in the same area, there's either automatic challenges or there's actual challenges to bring it up or bring it down and to not sway the judges, but talk it through. Hey, I noticed this, and that. Oh, I didn't notice that. Or good points. This is good things. All right, I underscored it, or I overscored it. And you know, no system's going to be perfect, but I think that's a pretty doggone good system.
And we're also trained to be very flexible too, because something may have not had impact. For example, I'll use myself as an example. Something came up, it didn't grab me right away. I think that's a nice image. It's got some good composition. There's a good color harmony. I'll give it an 82. And somebody else gave it an 88, and it gets challenged. And as it sits on the screen, I'm starting to appreciate it and see more into the image and more of the depth and some of the technique that was done and appreciate it more. You have to be flexible as a judge to listen to your other judges, take into account what they saw and what they have to say about it, and adjust your score appropriately. And we do that. That's something that's actually taught, and it's something that is reviewed and critiqued by our higher-ups. Our jury chairs will always be watching that to make sure that we're all playing together and somebody's not digging in their heels and just being the jerk on everything. So all that stuff is going on behind the scenes, and people don't understand that.
Well, it's kind of like, think about it this way. When you were a kid and your mom and dad had whatever for supper. Let's say they had beets for supper tonight, and you're like, oh, beets, look at that. It looks weird, and I'm not going to want to eat beets. And then you try it, and it's like, that's not too bad. But after a while, it grows on you, and you're like, you know what? I like beets. We change. We're human, and it's not a mathematic score or a computer up there robotically putting a number on an image that's in print competition. So there is a human factor to this, and that could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. I think more than not, it is a good thing. And in the classes that we teach, I always say when we're on score, when it's a scored type of situation, say don't be afraid to use the range. Don't be. We have from 65 to 100 or whatever it happens to be. Most time now 69 to 100. Use the range, and I'm not trying to be nice to people because it's not helping. And if its image is a 72, it's a 72. Don't give it a 77. I'm trying to be nice. We didn't quite give them that image excellence at sync, but we weren't nasty to them. No, that's not doing anybody favors because a 75 and a 79 are in the same category.
Right.
And so have that human factor. And if somebody, I've judged images. In fact, we just judged ASP this last weekend. I had twice that I punched in 100 right away out of the box. Right. My first number I punched in that score pad was 100. I also had images that were 69 right out of the box. And now there's been times that, okay, you punch in 98 and everybody else is at 82. Obviously, you're like, okay, I'm on a limb here. I better listen and find out, okay, did I just like it because I like the color blue and almost everything in here was blue? That can happen because we're human. I like that kind of light. That's the kind of pattern of light that I do use more often. It's comfortable to me, so I like it more. It's appealing. but once they started giving the examples and their justification of where they were at, I start going, you know what? You're right. I was overzealous about that, or I was too harsh on an image. It's you got to. I want that human factor because I want that excitement and the passion both ways, because it's all about what's going to be best for learning about that image and what we can all take away from it, whether it's our image or not. But at the same time, because it's a human element, you need to be able to sit back and swallow your pride a little bit and say, you guys are right. I was too harsh, or you guys are right. I understand that now. I was out on a limb. I was too passionate about this, and I overscored it. And that's the sign of a good judge. If you score 78 to 82 all the time, you're not helping anybody do anything. That's like getting likes on Facebook. Which,
Yep,
by
it
the way,
is.
I'd like to try this.
Like and
experiment.
subscribe.
Yeah, exactly. When this would be a good experiment. I was telling Dan about this on the phone the other day. I said, if you post an image on Facebook, and everybody's like, okay, this is a Dan Frievalt image, so you're like, and it's really cool, so you get a lot of likes, but no one's going to say anything really bad about it. But if Dan could post an image out on somebody's site and have it be anonymous, just an image, no name attached or anything, no one has any idea whose it is, I guarantee you're not going to get the same comments. You're not going to get the same amount of likes with the same audience. It's not going to happen. That's what those jurors are doing up there in those 5 seats. They're trying to be honest about that image in front of them,
Right.
what they feel in their heart is going to make it a better photographic image, or what is great about it that we can all take away from it. And that's something to
and along those lines, if you do know the maker, you have to disqualify yourself. And I was talking to some people. This happens every year at Sync. People come up with that like question. I'm like, oh no, they know the maker. They have to DQ because they're like, well, they know that's so and so. It's like, well, no, if they truly know. Now, you can look at certain people's images and think, oh, that looks like a Dan image, or that looks like a Corey image, or that looks like
Richard Sturdivant or something. But you have to
but you can't
take that thought and just throw it out of your head right away.
Yeah, because especially people that have been in the industry that start teaching their techniques, now other people are emulating it. So
how dare that people are getting good enough from what they're teaching that they're doing stuff that's similar? How dare they?
How dare right?
That's a good
well,
thing.
not only that, it's a good thing. But then it's like, oh shoot, like you start to like think of all these things, so you don't know.
I've seen 17 giraffes in this competition so far. They can't all be Sandra Pierce's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. And it can almost hurt like someone like Sandra, because it's like
exactly.
If the technique isn't up to par, but that's why you kind of throw that out.
She's moved on to squirrels now too. So.
Squirrels.
I don't know this year.
That's an inside joke there, so hopefully she's listening.
This year at ASP, it was gorillas and apes. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
It's like there's probably 15 or 20 apes. Yeah. Actually, there's probably more than that, but there's like 15 or 20 that came through my panel. It was crazy.
2 years ago, it was hairless cats.
Oh God, yeah. What was up with that? Cats should have
hair. Oh my God, there's so many hairless cats in this competition.
They should have hair.
Well, that brings up another point. Like in PPA competition or in the sync competition, when a particular like camera angle, or like the wide angle low stuff, or the dramatic off camera flash or whatever. Once things get going, like if you're the first to the table, you're going to have that impact. But as more and more people emulate that style, the impact's going to go down. So that's the thing I like about print competition, is trying to push myself and to reinvent and do something different, where they don't know like, whoa, I didn't know that was your image, or that's something new and different. And that's why I went after my master artist degree too, because it pushed me. I hated getting that degree. It was difficult. If you want to talk about frustrating and difficult, you enter that competition.
Tell me about it.
It's
been
one more merit, man.
For years.
Well,
I think I got 3 more.
That's no joke, man.
No joke.
That's what I pride myself on that in my artist cases, that there's a great diversity across the entire case. But the problem with my diversity is it's everything from a 76 to a loan. So it's not the diversity of look, it's diversity of quality.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I'll throw this out there too, because when I entered, I always entered for myself. I entered something that I loved, and it was like, it pushed the envelope, and I'm like, you know, it could either score a 76 or it could score a 86. Like, you never really knew, and I was okay with that risk because I'm like, this is what I love, and I'm gonna go for it. But if it did score a 76, it's like, you know, that's fine. It didn't bother me. You know, I think sometimes people get too competitive and too like, I have to do really well. And I mean, that can be good to push you, but if it sends you over the top, then, you know, like I've told people too, it's like, you know what? You're better off not entering because it's too stressful for you. If you're not learning and not enjoying it, then it's just not the right thing for you. And that's okay.
And that happens. Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay.
I've seen that happen.
Yeah. Or certain people that are just so extremely talented and they have a certain style, and that style may not do well, but that doesn't mean that style isn't awesome and they can't sell art. Like, there's a girl in my town that creates amazing artwork, and she goes, I know I should enter. I go, you know what? You're doing fine. You're selling art and you're in art galleries and all this stuff. Like, you may enter this and it might discourage you. And that's, you don't need that. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. You have
and sometimes it changes your art, because when you start to do art
Yeah.
for the scores and start to do the art for awards.
Right.
And I mean, it changed my photography in good and bad ways. And I've actually started to back off from that and not worry about when I've got the camera in my hand, shooting client work, whether I'm shooting for competition. You always used to be have competition in the back of your mind, because you never know when you're going to get an opportunity to create a competition image. I've gotten rid of that. So when I'm photographing clients, I'm applying all the composition, color, harmony, rhythm of light, all that stuff. It's still there
in your head. Yes,
but I'm not thinking print competition when I'm photographing my clients. Now, I'll shoot things for competition, or I'll look through my client work and say, that can score in print competition. But it's the client work first, and then it backs its way into print competition versus having that competition thing in my head all the time. So that's just what I found had to work for me, because I got too focused on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Way too focused on print competition.
And it takes, I kind of compare it similar to when I started photography. I didn't know any of these rules, and I was like shooting and having fun and joking with my clients, and like, this is a blast. And then all of a sudden, I had certain people critiquing my images, like, oh, you have skill, but like, if you get your lighting a little bit better, if you do this, you do that. So then I'm like, oh yeah. So I was obsessed with getting my lighting right. And so what I did is I'd get in a session, I'd be putzing with my lighting and fiddling with stuff, and triggers aren't working and lights aren't recycling, because of problems before
you weren't using MoLights
the
at
nice,
the time. Yeah.
That's right.
Right. As I say, before the whole, I'm carrying around a 20-pound battery and all this, neutral density filters and all these other hacks to try and get this look, which was a lot harder back then, which we've touched on in this podcast in the past as well. But yeah, now Kodak makes it where you don't have to think. But back then, cheating. When you had to think, you lost your connection with the client, and the images weren't as good. And then it's like, well, then they didn't have as much fun, and then their profit wasn't as good either. They couldn't really tell that the lighting wasn't as good. It was all about the experience.
But you just hit right on the head of it. It was what the client liked because it was comfortable to them. It was more comfortable as far as experience, because you as the photographer weren't fumbling around trying to get things right and nervous because I can't get this to work and they have technical problems. None of that was there. It was just a connection that you're always there for their experience, and they felt that they're comfortable about it. In the same sense, the images that you produce, if there's a comfortable level of acceptance of that image, that's really what we're trying to find in scoring it. It's about, I know there's all these different elements that we're trying to score about, but when it comes right down to it, is did it make them comfortable by looking at it? Does the light make them
Yeah.
look three-dimensional? Is it blowing out areas that makes them less appealing? Are the colors working and balancing? Does the image overall have a good balance? Because people like to see balance when they look at a flat piece of paper, and it's psychology of it all in all when it's all said and done. So the things that we're looking at and analyzing, evaluating in print competition are really what's going to make you more elevated in the eyes of your guests
more
as
better.
well. More
better,
gooder.
yeah.
Much more gooder.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and two things with that. I'm on a roll now. I'm fired up.
Go, roll it,
It's,
man. Take it. Go for it.
Same thing. You guys as judges, you're quick. You're looking at things and you're analyzing, doing everything. From entering print competition, I've learned those things. So when I'm in a session, and someone like my assistants or the moms are always like blown away. They're like, "You see everything." It's like same thing. Your eyes going like, "Oh,
yeah.
Move your chin, twist your hand, bring your chin this way. Oh, there's a wrinkle there. Oh, fix that necklace." And like, it's the same kind of thing. Like in print comp, when you can look at it and quick give it a score. It's like every time you compose, it's like, "Oh no, there's a merger. Oh no, there's a bright light back there. Oh, that hair is like sticking out. Oh, that earrings." Like you're doing those same things every single day in a session.
All
so
the time. Yep.
it's the same thing when looking at images, and we got to be able to. That's what I've learned through print competition, and that's what's made my images better. My everyday images better. Now, would those score great and merit? No, but like Carl said, that when someone looks at it, same thing when someone looks at a crummy piece of design. You can look at a bad design. You don't have to have a design degree, but if it's got 15 different fonts and 14 different colors and the clip art is jagged and ratchety, you're like, ugh. You get the flyer in the mail for oil change, and it's like, whoa, man, I'm not going there. You throw it to the side, So, you don't have to have a design degree to notice that. Same thing with our clients. They can look at something and be like, hey, that's good work. I don't know why I like it, but we're tricking them into, by the design elements, that's why they like it.
On the same note, just because cream is going to rise to the top, period. I mean, the best images are going to end up scoring the highest. They're going to end up getting the awards, which we'll talk about later, probably, maybe, possibly. Maybe I don't want to. But just because your image didn't score higher than the other people that were there entering doesn't mean that it wasn't a great image, and it doesn't mean that it wasn't great for that guest. It's just different. It's not better or worse. It's just different. That's all. So just kind of keep that in mind too as we're wading through this educational experience that it really is.
Or you can, we've touched on this before too, you could have very good, clean, let's say average work, but you are a heck of a salesperson and you have a business person and you're marketing, you have everything locked in, you're going to be making tons of money. Someone else that you may respect that has, like, you look at their images, you're wowed, you think they're the greatest thing ever. They could have spent all year on 4 images and won all kinds of awards, and they could be the starving artist that is a wonderful artist that has no business sense, and they could be struggling like to pay their bills. So, like, have a balance that out too. Have a balance and
print competition should not be your whole dang life.
Right.
I mean,
we see people get lost in that too. Yeah.
Too many. So here's one for you. I'm going to throw this name out for you. Felice Bosher. She's out in Maine. She's a friend of mine that we studied with Jay Stock together. I invite you to go look at her work. Look at her on Facebook. Last name Boucher, I think. Boucher. Okay. Yeah, Felice. Felice is at times done really well in print competition. At times not understood. But I remember back when I first met her, this is back in the days of film, okay? Not digital, no Photoshop, which is another topic we'll talk about some other time.
Did you meet her on a covered wagon?
No. But we were in a J Stock seminar, workshop, week-long thing that we were hanging and doing. But she actually did layers in her work by layers of glass. So she'd have a model laying down, and then she'd have a piece of glass with weeds or
Oh, sure,
ferns or
sure.
something, and then another layer of glass, and so on and so forth. Just way, way before the times.
Overlays.
And
She had
now
overlays in camera.
in camera,
Exactly.
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah,
just
in
insane. But her idea, her thought process was just
You
fun
could buy
to
them.
watch.
She'd ship
as
the
far as-
panels to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they weren't downloadable, if that's what you're asking. No.
They were no.
But her work now is sort of, I'm not sure she's doing any entering anymore at all, which is too bad because I really, really, really love her work. But she's in art shows and juried art shows all over, up and down the East Coast now. And so when you look at what is going on in the juried art shows for artists, for that art eye, the art mind, the art personality, every time I see her work come through on Facebook, I know it's hers right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's a style, it's a persona, it's a quality level that just screams Felice. And it's a really good example of, does print competition something you always have to do to make it better or to make you known? No, not at all. But once it helps reach that plateau, that you can find to be your own and to be recognizable as your work. I mean, it can help you get to that quality level that people stop and go, whoa, we got to look at this. It is quite lovely. So I invite you to look at Felice's work.
What's her last name again? Navidad?
Bocher. B-O-U.
That keeps going through my head.
I can see it. I can see it rattling around in there.
It's going, but Bocher, B-O-U.
Especially since I leave for Mexico in a few weeks.
I know.
Oh my God, crazy. But yeah, check her stuff out.
Uno momento,
amazing
por
work.
favor.
No more Christmas, por favor.
And
Slap
since
them
we're
in.
taking a and since we're taking a moment, the Photo Happy Hour is sponsored in part by MoLight, innovation and integration in photographic lighting, and by Seniors Unlocked, featuring education, overlays, not made on a glass, overlays, brushes, textures, and more for enhancing your photography. Learn more at store.seniorsunlocked.com. And by Carl Caylor's one-on-one group mentoring. You can contact Carl through his website at photoimagesbycarl.net. And
More education.
the Photo
And-
Happy Hour has been brought to you by Professional Photographers of Iowa. Be sure to check out their upcoming convention, March 18th through 21st in Des Moines. For more info, go to PP Iowa. That's PPIOWA.com and learn more. Like and
So there
subscribe.
you go. Yeah, so there.
I don't know if you had anything else to say, but I just thought it was a good opportunity before I forget to get in our sponsors.
I think
So.
You know what? I'd love to go
we
to
keep
Iowa
trying to
just
make
see
these
Corey's
shorter.
program.
But
Yeah.
I know. I just looked out at the time going,
Oh,
My-
wow.
yeah.
my last and my other podcast, 10 minutes. Or just a little bit under 11. I'm like, cool.
What the heck?
'Cause
Yeah, I
'cause
wrote
you
it.
don't have
Well,
two other people
Wrote it.
yapping.
22, 33. I mean, okay, we're over that.
Wrote it,
Fine.
recorded it, edited it, and posted it in an hour 45.
Yeah,
No,
You should try that
we're-
sometime.
We're over that. That's right. It's not a competition, damn it.
So if we're going to sum things up, Sync good, Sync moving. Sync's going to be in Fort Myers, Florida next
It
year,
is.
which is going to be warmer.
Much
We're not
warmer.
going to have our VRBO condo like we've had the last few years. Our 3-story New Orleans style 15, 16-foot ceiling kind of thing. I had a
Viking range.
Viking range. I had a hot tub and a fireplace in the bathroom. That
Well,
was
in
crazy.
your room, yeah,
I know.
on the top floor. Yeah.
Because I took Mrs. MoLight with me. So that was
That's
nice.
Carl and I had bunk beds and with a
That's right.
low chandelier that
Of course, we did have to room with Crystal for a night because we had to put up Ryan and his wife. This is another thing. You know what? This is a good thing too. At Sync, this shows you that our photography family. The hotel had some issues, no doubt about it, and didn't have a room for them that was already reserved for two of our Wisconsin crew people, and So they called and said, "Can we sleep on a couch or something?" And we, we just made room. And that's what we do. That's the photography family. You make room and bring them in. And
so
we had
next year, next year I'm not even going to book a room. I'll be like, oh shoot, they messed up. Yeah,
somebody will put me up.
Someone will put me up.
Yeah.
I'm not sleeping in a bathtub again. Well, not with you anyway. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's a whole different story.
On that note.
On that note. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to check out the YouTube version of our podcast, although I'm a little behind on editing and posting those, but I'll get caught up on that pretty quick. And that's that. Photo Happy Hour podcast. So if you look for that on YouTube, you can actually see what we look like and then never see us again. Be sure to like and give us a 5-star rating on whatever podcast app you use. And if you're not subscribing, do so already. That didn't make any sense.
He said,
more scotch for me.
Yeah.
So until next time, guys. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You don't know the power of this podcast. You must obey me and subscribe. When I first started listening, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. Subscribe now. It is useless to resist.